Okay. Oh, is that better? Is that a little better?
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right. Welcome to our Friday Live. I think we have a case of the Fridays. We're just a little slap happy today. Um,
Yep.
but we are having fun, and that's all that matters. And so I am super excited. I know I said join us here in 10 minutes. Well, it has been quite the show getting ready for the live. Jeri can attest to that. But we are here now, and so I'm super excited to have one of the original OGs with us, who's going to talk about Jeri Taylor-Swade, Queen from Washington State, correct?
Yes.
And she's going to talk to us about building a global sales team, which is so, I think, cool right now because, of course, we have the free enrollments,
Yeah.
and it's just the world is in a kind of state of crazy right now. But Jeri's going to share with us, how she did it, the importance of doing it, and just really her feedback on the word joy comes to mind of having these Sisters all over the world. So,
And it's funny because that's my word.
is it joy?
Yeah. Joy is my word. So isn't that weird that came to your mind?
It did. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me cry because it's been Mary. I was like, it's been one of those days, and joy came to mind. So remind me to. I'm gonna send you a picture when we're off of here. It's a one of those little plaques that I keep in my kitchen, and it's joy.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, I will. So anyway, we could talk all day. Jeri, when we get on, we just talk like we haven't talked in, remember the last phone conversation we had? We were on for quite a while.
Yes, we were.
So anyway, take us away. Share with us your experience building a global SeneGence team.
Well, first of all, I didn't do it. I have amazing leaders, people on my team that have done it. I mean, all I did was open my mouth and I said what I knew to say. And that's just that we have an amazing opportunity. And some people just took it up and ran from there. And, I'm so blessed. I feel so blessed that I have a team around the world. And I I can say that I do have a team around the world, and I am blessed that other people were the ones that, started opening their mouth and building in the different countries. But I also know that it's leadership, and I know that I've been told by those leaders in the other countries that I have on my team that they really appreciate the fact that I have made a culture on our team to where everyone feels included. So in other words, we're not in different countries, but everybody feels connected. And I think that's the biggest key right there is them feeling connected and not feeling like, oh, you're in this country, oh, you're in that country, we don't talk to you, or we're too busy, or it's not like that. I try to get everyone together, and it's a really fun thing to do, and it's pretty cool when you can say that you have an international team when you're talking about sponsoring. So if you have anyone on your team, whether it's, your upline has somebody in another country, whatever team you're on, if there's someone in another country, you can say that you are part of an international team and part of an international global company, which is really important because it expands, not just, it gives a bigger feeling, a bigger meaning to what SeneGence is, instead of, oh, I'm just here selling a few lipsticks here and there. That small mindset grows into this big possibility thinking to where you are now thinking globally. And that's what we want to talk about today. And the benefits of having a global sales organization is, for obvious reasons. First of all, the compensation plan, if you have team in countries where the compensation plan is open, then your personal business grows, your paycheck, so to speak, grows, and then SeneGence as a brand grows around the world. And that's what we want. We want SeneGence to grow around the world. You know, for so many years, I mean, I've been doing this 21 years. SeneGence was not branded. We had,
Wait, you guys, did you hear? She said 21 years.
Yeah.
21 year. So when I say one of the originals, I mean it. 21 years. That is amazing. That is.
And
That,
I don't look like it because of our
no,
amazing skincare.
exactly. You're not even old enough to be around for 21 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my four grandchildren will tell you otherwise, right?
Yeah, sorry, I just had to say that. I'm like, oh, someone said, yes, I heard. Whoa. So anyway, pretty awesome.
Well, so when I started, you know, nobody knew anything about our company. And then we were starting to get branded as a LipSense company. Like LipSense was our thing. Nobody even knew what the word SeneGence was, or we never talked about it as OG distributors. We always talked about LipSense. And then SeneGence started branding, and we started branding. And I don't exactly know when that happened, but now SeneGence is now becoming a global brand, and people around the world are recognizing the word SeneGence, not just the word LipSense. So it's growing exponentially around the world, and it will continue to grow because we're going to be going into more countries and more countries and more countries. I mean, we're only 21 years old. Can you imagine when we're 50 years old as a company, right? So then the other thing about it is spreading the SeneSister culture globally, which is huge. And it's up to the leaders to do that. The leaders are the ones that set the tone. The company does, but it's the leaders of the different teams around the world that set that culture to where people know us as having the SeneGence culture, the SeneSisterhood. And the SeneSisterhood is very, very, very rare in direct selling. And other teams, not other teams, but other companies recognize that we have this SeneSisterhood that's very rare. It starts at the top, though. It always starts at the top. So my concern has been, when we had this major growth, my biggest concern was, are we going to keep that SeneSister culture? Are we going to keep that culture where we lift each other, we empower each other, and we want each other to succeed? And I can say, thank God that we have kept that culture, and it's growing and growing because of the leaders and because of the people that are in SeneGence around the world know about the culture and how important it is for us to keep that. So that makes me really, really happy. And then, go ahead. I can't hear you.
I kept myself muted so we didn't have any feedback, but you're getting a lot of love. Sisterhood is so great. Kathy's on. Gotta love that. Kathy Houlihan, your girl's on. So tell us the benefits of building a global team, because I know you wanted to share that.
Well,
you talked about the compensation, you talked about the sisterhood, but what, being part of an international team, do you think that people really get the scope of that? Like,
I don't think they do until they have it. And once they have it, then they're like, holy moly, I have a team. And I tell people I have a team in Australia and Canada and Mexico and New Zealand, and and they're like, really? And it's you have to talk about it. You have to open your mouth and talk about that part of it, because then the possibility thinking starts coming in for others that you meet. Oh my gosh, I know my sister-in-law in Australia. She loves makeup. She would probably really like this, but you have to speak it. You have to open your mouth. Just like I've always taught that. You have to open your mouth from the time you're wowing, whatever you're talking about, and the global possibilities and the global sales organization is possible from first starting to open your mouth and telling people about where we are in the world. And then it's kind of like the world becomes your oyster. And I feel blessed in that I literally could go probably to any distributor's house around the world or call them and say, hey, the hotel closed down. Can I come and stay with you? And they would say, yes. That is flippin' amazing. It's amazing to think about that. And then you have friends all over the world. Your world expands so that, my grandkids are like, Mima, you know people in Australia? Mima, you know people in England? And it's really, really cool. And that's what happens when you start building a team around the world. And I want to give you a quote that Joni said in the 2016 Acclaim magazine. I have it written down. Women everywhere are the same. We want love, friendship, a connection, and respect for one another. Our sisterhood extends around the world. Isn't that cool? I think I can't hear you again, but.
That is so cool. Yeah, it really is. I'm looking at the comments and it's like you said, we all want the same thing, right? It's really that simple.
Yeah.
So you opening your mouth. How did you and your leaders and things like that, but how did you start to build like in all of those countries that you mentioned, Australia, Canada?
Well,
New Zealand?
okay, so I had people that were sponsored in those different countries, and then from there it's a matter of teaching and training and doing things that make people feel part of a bigger connection than just their own thing. And I started doing team trainings, and I actually went. I've been sent to Australia twice by SeneGence, but I also went on my own dime because I wanted to make sure that my Australian team knew that I cared. And I threw my team is called Pink Power Queendom. So I threw a Pink Power Queendom Dominion party for them at seminar 2 or 3 years ago. And we did the whole thing just like I would here in the States. And I shipped everything ahead of time. And because I did that, I really believe that made that it solidified everybody together. And then of course we had a Crown Princess break off in that year, and it was a very big deal. And we celebrated her and we crowned her and we put a big cape on her and everything. And if I wouldn't have been there, no one would have done that, right? So I feel like it's my responsibility. I do have a big team, but it's my responsibility as the queen of this team to make sure that the culture spreads throughout our team, and that I'm there in person and or in any way I can support and let them know that I really do care about them and that I want to celebrate them. And so I feel like maybe that's why I have a big team like I do still, is because I've gone to Canada. I threw a retreat. I put on a retreat 2 years ago in Canada for my Canadian distributors. I've gone to Australia. I've gone to Canada more than once. I have done team retreats every single year for many years now. And this last year, we even had distributors from Australia fly all the way over to the States to be part in our team retreat. That's how important it is for our team. And we do Zoom calls and we have happy hours and we do things that everybody, my team trainings are available. Obviously, if they're on Facebook Live, anybody on the team can go and look. And then I do a Zoom call every Wednesday morning for anybody in the world that wants to be part of that. And so I think that it's me as a leader, it's my responsibility first. And then to, help the leaders if they need it. Joni always told me years and years and years ago, Joni always told me, you want to work yourself out of a job. So what I do now, I don't worry like worry about my Canadian team or my Australia team, because they've got leaders that are on our team, but they've got leaders now that are totally taking over. Like I could like go out of the picture tomorrow and it would still continue. And so that I understood, now I understand more about what Joni meant by that. When I heard her tell me that years and years ago, I didn't really understand what that meant because I was in the process of doing all of this, right? Years ago, I'm talking. And so now I look back and I say, okay, I get it. I get that you actually want to work yourself out of a job, so to speak. And you also want your team members to excel more than you have. You want them to get higher than you, get more recognition than you. And when you do, you just sit back and smile.
Right. I have a question in the chat. That's what I'm watching the chat. And Paige O'Brien from Canada is asking,
Hi, Paige.
yeah, do you let distributors that are not on your team to join your training group?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Very good. So you keep it with
Okay, this is why. So years ago when Facebook first came out, and and then we didn't have groups, and then when we started having groups, I remember a conversation that Don Christian and I had about whether we were going to open our groups up to everyone or not. And I decided that I was not going to open my group up to anyone except for the team or somebody that I like adopted, like some of the girls from England that don't really have anybody, and I sort of adopted them. So I've allowed them to go on my team page, but my team page is closed. And I am so thankful that I did that. And Dawn told me I wish I would have done it that way, because we have zero drama. And I'm talking zero drama. Never have had drama on our team page ever, ever. And if we even start getting that way, I just nip it in the bud right away. But when you allow other people to come in, you can't control. And when you allow anybody to invite anybody and let them go in the team page, it just gets out of control. And then how do you do contests? How do you do challenges? How do you do things like that when there's too many people on your team page that are not even part of your team, right? And they might say something that's like, no, that's not how we do things here. You know what I mean? So no, I do not.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's all about creating that culture. So I think that, but you did say unless you adopted someone. So if you do adopt someone, then you allow them, because that's that sisterhood and that culture that you've created, right? So yeah. That's awesome. That was a great question, Paige. Thank you for asking that. So Jeri, what would you say to someone? We've got a lot of newbies on the page, which is great. A lot of new folks joining. What would you say to someone who wants to start building globally? How do they start?
You need to ask for referrals. You need to say, who do you know? You need to open your mouth, and you need to have the conversations when you're doing your lives or when you're doing your presentations. You need to make sure that you mention that part of it, that there is a global compensation plan, that these are the countries that are open for business. Do you know someone? And let me tell you the countries that are actually open to the global compensation plan. Okay. The USA and the territories of the USA. So that is America, Samoa, Guam, the US Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. So those are all included in that. And then Canada, then Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, and Hong Kong. Those are the countries. I don't have anybody in Hong Kong yet, and I'm really excited about it. Because I don't have
You just put it out in the universe. You just put it out there, girl. It's going to happen now.
I know. Exactly. Hong Kong, come to me. Okay. So then we have what we call country brokers. Okay. This is different. Country brokers, you can sponsor, but there's no compensation structure payout yet. Okay. There will be eventually, but there's not now. The country brokers are SeneGence, which is the United Kingdom, which is England, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. Those are part of SeneGence, and you can sponsor people in those countries. Then there's also Switzerland, that's a country broker, Guam, Poland, and Indonesia. So those are countries that are not open to the compensation plan yet, but they do have SeneGence distributors in them, and they are building to where I don't know I'm not a corporate person, so I don't know all of what that looks like or when they're going to open. I have no clue about all of that. I just know that you can sponsor people in those countries. And if you have somebody that you want to sponsor in those countries that I just talked about that are not open to the compensation plan, you need to contact Wendy Bender. And this is what Joni just told me 3 weeks ago, that you need to contact Wendy Bender if you have a potential distributor in another country, and she will direct you to where you're supposed to go. And her email is wbender@senegence.com.
And just to give you guys, Wendy is our amazing director of SeneCare. So, SeneCare is always, we're still working in SeneCare. We're still having the chat. That is such great information. Getting a lot of love. So here's the deal, ladies. Now is the time. Joni talked about, I think she was in your page this morning, Jeri.
Yes.
And we were talking about sharing the gift. And she actually said, I saw this, that the world is your oyster. And
Yes.
it is. And now is the time where we have the opportunity to offer this gift to women. Like Jeri said, women are all the same, right? They're all looking for something. So we just wanted to jump on a little bit this afternoon and say, let's share it. Let's keep going. We got a few more days with free enrollment. And thank you, Brianna, for putting that in there. Thank you. She just put in Wendy's. So I'm just so thankful that we jumped on, because I know we had to move this around a little bit, but we're getting a lot of love out there. And listen, I have to just go back to the 21 years. Okay. If Jeri can do it,
Anybody can do it. Because I've made so many dang mistakes, and I didn't have the tools. We had zero tools when I started. I was handed a baggie and said, let me know if you're successful. That's what Joni said to me. That was my training.
There you go.
But I do want to tell you one thing about this. In your back office, okay, if you have somebody in the countries that are open to the compensation plan, that is, in your back office under resources, if you look under resources and scroll down, when the drop down menu comes down, there's sponsoring. And then when you click on that, there's another drop down menu, and it says international sponsoring. And when you go to that page, that's where the beauty books are for the different languages. That's where you find all of that. So when you have somebody that you maybe want to send a beauty book in French to, or you want to send it in Spanish or whatever, it's all right there. It's under international sponsoring, under resources, and under sponsoring.
Thank you. That's awesome. I'm glad you included that tip. By the way, you're going to be able, well, you may hear that if maybe I don't want to give out too much, but Jeri's going to be sharing this even more at a future event. We're really going to break this down.
Yes.
And she is, I think we're going to talk a little bit more. She really gets into the nitty gritty. I don't want to give it away. So we just wanted to jump on and just give you a little snippet of what we're going to be talking about at a future event. You are going to love it. And it's actually going to change. Hopefully this changed your perspective a little bit and got you out of your comfort zone a little bit to broaden, to open the world to SeneGence and share it. But I have to tell you, when you really start looking, we've got the tools in place. Like Jeri said, we didn't have this 21 years ago. And even what we had 5 years ago or even a year ago, has changed. So why not, get over your fear. Jeri's giving you really the tips that open your mouth, start the conversation, ask for referrals. if you need it, we have it there. And as she mentioned, Wendy and our SeneCure is also there to support you. And of course, my team is also there to support you and help you, cast your net a little bit more wide. So Jeri, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know you're busy being the global queen that you are. We really appreciate you. I love you dearly. Thank you so much for taking your time, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. I am really busy because I'm doing my team recognition tomorrow. So it'll be a global recognition party. So
Wow.
I'm getting ready for that right now.
Awesome. Well, good luck on that tomorrow. I know it's going to be fabulous.
Thank you so much. God bless.
All right. Thank you. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye.